from Fabulous Paper Emporium. I'm here just with a quick little tutorial on stamping. So it's called, I believe, triple layer stamping, if I'm not mistaken. And this is basically what you end up with. So it's all about layering. It's all about just stamping in random areas. This all the way around is actually 4 stamps. Like I one stamp, but I actually placed it 4 times. So, and then I used one of the sayings or verses or sentiments, I guess is the word I'm looking for today, and stamp that in the middle. Of course, the idea is I will probably come back and use some color with some markers, but I just wanted to give people this idea. If you haven't seen it before, I think it's a really old technique, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I remember doing this years ago. And you could also do this if you had the right dies, the right layering dies. What are they called? I think that's what they're called, layering dies, because I have some here. Yeah, so they're layering. I just don't have any really good ones that are rectangles. And I did cut 2 piles. So this one I did, it was hand cut, well, with my paper trimmer. And I'll give you the measurements for these. But I was trying to find, and I have some really old dies that I thought might work, but I feel like the space in between is just not, it's just not the same. Like you don't have a lot of white in there. So you could still use the same technique. I just don't feel like you're going to get a lot of the pattern. So I am going to try that right now. But before I do, I also wanted to try the way that I made this. So that I will give you right away. I'll give you the dimensions of all of these pieces. So I've got 3 white pieces. I'm going to set the black aside. So 3 white pieces. The larger one is 5 1/4 by 4, or sorry, 4 by 5 1/4, depending on how you're layering it or the direction that you're going. The next one is 3 by 4 1/4, and the top one is 2 by 3 1/4. So those are our 3 white pieces. Again, you can use any color, but these are the color, this is the cardstock we will be stamping on. So you definitely want to make sure that it's lighter so that you can see the stamp. And then the 2 black layers, the larger one is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then the smaller one is 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. So, and it does give you that little border around the outside, which you would kind of do anyways. Well, you could, but I do that a lot when I'm making cards, just to have something that's in between the base and the top layer. And of course, I use a lot of pattern paper. So this would work particularly well, I think, if you had the dies. I haven't quite figured it out cutting it, because it's going to require a lot more precision when it comes to how you layer, where you cut, and of course how you layer it. So we'll start by doing this one, the one that I hand cut. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to take, you could take, if you had some mini glue dots or something that was like a temporary adhesive. I know the tape runners, you can get the temporary adhesive ones. If you're using the glue dots, just kind of like handle them a little bit so that I don't want this to be permanent, which is why I'm using washi tape. I feel like that for me comes apart fairly easily. And so I'm going to layer this like I would normally. So I'm trying to get it as centered as I possibly can. Of course, white on white. It's difficult to get that. And all I'm doing is just kind of rolling the washi tape like you kind of do if you were sticking something on. Like that's how I used to put on bows and things like that when you're younger. Okay. And then this piece, I could always move them around because again, it's just temporary. That's all you need to do is have it temporarily sit all together, but putting washi tape or any tape on the outside is obviously going to prevent the stamp from reaching the paper. So just something to keep in mind when you're doing this technique. Okay, so I've got this stamp. My goodness, when I was looking for a stamp to use, I went through a lot of my stash looking for a large stamp that, you know, I could kind of put all over. And I had a really hard time. So it's not that I don't have large stamps. I just have no idea where they are. So I'm using this floral, the same floral that I used for this one. And just because I'm using the one stamp. You can use as many stamps as you want. If you wanted to use little hearts or little stars and just kind of go around, you could absolutely do that. Leaves works really well. It doesn't have to be a large stamp. I just, you know, this was kind of the nicest floral that I had or have. And so, we are bringing in some more stamps, by the way, so it will no longer be an issue in the near future. Probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we have a lot of new product coming in. So super, super excited about that. And of course, I'll do probably a quick little, well, it probably won't be quick and it won't be little, but it'll be a video to show all the new stuff that we have coming in. Inks is one of them, and I'm super, super excited about the inks because we don't have those right now, and that's part of card making and paper crafting and album making. So I really, really wanted to make sure that we had that component. So aside from that, okay, we're getting to the inking. So I'm just going to go around, ink up the entire stamp because some of it's going to be off the page, but you know, you don't want to crowd it too much. So I think I'm going to kind of do how I did the first time. I got this little contraption. Got it today. But I gotta say, like, it's super tiny, so it doesn't really fit in my hand very well, but I've got ideas. So that's fine. Like, I know it didn't stamp all the way because obviously you've got layers. So, but that's fine because we will have black that kind of is in between those two. So you don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to re-ink the entire stamp. And then I'm going to flip this over. Position it. Normally I would kind of stand over it. I don't want the flowers to go quite as far in. I almost grabbed my my little sponge dabber thing to kind of go over this. That would have been way messy. Okay. So the last one, I came in just probably a little bit less, but you see, I didn't have enough room for the sentiment, which kind of bothered me, but you know, we roll with the punches. It is what it is, but I have an idea for that. So it's just going to involve, I think I'm going to color on that other one. I'm just going to color some of the flowers that same color as the ink. And so that way it's not completely monochromatic, but it just has, you know, like a hint of color. Focusing on one color and that's it. Okay. And I just got to be careful because with the huge acrylic ink block, it kind of rocks a little bit if I'm not careful enough with the stamp pressurizing thing. Don't know what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. Oops. Yep. Let the ink fly all over the place. Oh, and I even got it on my block. That means I'm going to definitely get it on my hands now. That's all I needed was a little hint on my ink block. See, even with my hands, I just feel like I've just kind of rocked it a couple of times so I can, there we go. So that's kind of the idea. But like I said, if all you have is small stamps, it will work equally as well. And I actually have small stamps. I'm going to use that for the second one, although it may not kind of work quite as well. Like I said, the layers are entirely different, but we're going to gently peel the layers off. I'm going to save that for my next one. If you have the layering dies, I feel like it would be, if you use one size, you're going to not just skip one, you're going to skip two and go to the next, skip two and then go to the next. And that's how you're going to have the really nice separation. I think that's how it would work, at least for these ones. And then in order to get the layers, you're going to go one up from this one and one up for that one in order to get the nice black definition without the black being quite the same size or having the same distance. Hopefully I'm making sense. So what you would do next is, now we're going to layer these pieces onto the black. So we've got two black pieces that we're going to layer. So I'm just going to quickly do that. If my glue would cooperate. Seriously. Come on. Sometimes even with the pen, you get a little bit of, oh, now I can't get my pen back in the hole. Oh boy. It's definitely Monday. Okay. There we go. Second try. Sometimes third time's a charm, sometimes the second time. There we go. All right. So I'm not going to worry right this instant about, the direction, because that doesn't really matter right now. It's only when you start layering these pieces together that you have to be very mindful of where your pattern is and how you've laid it out. Otherwise, you'll notice that your pattern doesn't really line up quite as well as it probably should. And that's the reason why. So I'm going to put this layer on. The beauty of liquid glue is that I don't have to really worry. Okay. So you see how if I was putting it on like this, the pattern doesn't line up. It's kind of close in some areas, which is why it had me kind of rethinking what I was doing. So it's kind of close, but not quite a match. But if I were to line it up like this, I've got the continuation of the flowers and the leaves all in the right spot. So that's how I know that this is the right position. And so we're not going to move it around too much, just enough to flip it over, get some glue on the back so that we're not mucking around too much. Just lifting it up a little bit so that I can get a good vantage point of where this is going to go. Okay. So now we have our first layer, and then we're going to do the exact same thing. But now I want to make sure that I am putting it in the right spot. Yep. All right, perfect. Layer up the glue or put the glue on the back, and then we can use this. Okay, that, I don't know why that doesn't really look, that's not right. That's why. Jeez. I'm telling you, I was like, it kind of looks right, because the problem is that using the same stamp all the way around the outside, like the border, it really kind of was tricking me on this side, because I was like, it kind of lines up because the flowers are pretty much the same. These two flowers, when you flip it around, kind of match. Anyhow, avoided disaster there. That would have been kind of funny, I guess. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with this one. I'm just going to use different stamps. I'm not going to use the large one. I'm going to use the same washi tape because it's still good. And layer this, and then the second one. And the washi tape I love for a variety of reasons. I never seem to really use it for the intended purpose, which is to, you know, kind of decorate and that kind of thing. So I think I will use, I have a lovely leaf stamp. I think I'm going to use that one right now, because none of my other stamps are quite as big as I would like them to be. So I'm going to use this little stamp. So I'm going to move away from the ridiculously large acrylic block that I was using before, and I'm going to be using, it'd be nice if I used green. So I feel like I've got green here. Yeah, I've got Bundled Sage as one of my distress inks. So we are using that. Move that out of the way. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. Again, just kind of for, you know, the purposes of this tutorial. I'm not going to be super picky, but you can move things off the page, and that way you're getting all the lovely layers kind of in between. I think I'm going to put some here and another one here. And I'm not using the Misty just because, well, I'm freehanding it. I feel confident enough that I can freehand it and be okay with that. And it's going to take a lot of time kind of going back and forth. And positioning isn't quite as essential here as it would be on, let's say, you know, you have to get it in between, you know, two pieces, or you've got like a scene that you're setting for yourself. So I am using, it's quite dark, but I am using Villainous Potion. I think that's what this one's called. It's a super dark purple. I absolutely love, love, love it. And we're just going to go around. You can move this around. It doesn't have to necessarily be the one direction. And then here, I think. And you can keep layering. Like you can, if you had more stamps, actually I've got on the same thing, I've got another 2 stamps that I could use. I've got some fur eyelash there. Yeah, I don't think I want to use any more of the Villainous Potion. So I'm just going to peel that off really quickly. And then I'm going to use, I have this Victorian Velvet, which is kind of like a dusty, rosy, pinky color. Or at least I believe it is. So we're going to use that for the butterfly. Just because these are the 3 that I grabbed. So here are the butterflies, and we can stick those all around. And again, it doesn't necessarily, there's no rhyme or reason. You put the stamps wherever you'd like them to be, on, off. I like having a lot because you don't generally have a lot of interest around the outside besides inking your edges. And then one last one right there. But like I said, with this one, I don't think we're going to have quite the same look as we did with the first one that we did. So I'm going to go ahead, separate my layers, and then we're going to layer it up with the black. I will, in the description below, you know, if anybody likes the way this ends up looking, and I've never done it like this, so I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's definitely going to be quite a bit different than the first one that we did. Again, because the dies that I have, I didn't have many options in the rectangles. So I basically used, I'm pretty sure, all of the rectangles that I had. So there were 5 in the set. So I used the largest one for the base, the second one for the black, then the third, for the white, the fourth, the fifth. So, like, it doesn't have quite the same effect when you kind of layer it down. You lose quite a bit of the pattern that's going around the white. And if I maybe had done, I thought it was going to work better, possibly, if it worked at all, possibly would have worked a little bit better with the smaller stamps. And I'm feeling like the flower really kind of gets lost in between those layers. I'm going to layer this one up first. Yeah, see, like the flowers on the corner really do get lost. So just, we're learning as we go. I knew that the hand cut certainly would have worked without problem. And this one, I was very skeptical, and I think with good reason, because a lot of the flowers are kind of like, meh. You don't really see them because the black is way too large. It's not, I think on the other one, if you cut it, let me just look at the sizes really quickly. So there's only a 1/4 inch difference between the white and the black. So, let me just put this down and then I can kind of go through that really quickly with you. So that way you got an idea. So when you're using your layering dies, or if you have a set of rectangle layered dies, then what you're going to be looking for, so with this one, the top piece is 2 by 3 1/4, and the layering base is 2 1/4 by 3. Sorry, the layering black is 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. So it is a 1/4 inch larger than the top. And the same thing with the second. The second one is a 1/4 inch. This white piece is a 1/4 inch smaller than the black. So hopefully I haven't completely confused you, because I just used 2 different things. Anyways, so this is a 1/4 inch smaller than the black. This piece is a 1/4 inch smaller than this layer of black. And then this base would be a 1/4 inch smaller than what you would put on your card. So this would work perfectly for, I think it's an A2 size card. So the base that I would do for this one would be 4 1/4 wide by 10 1/2 long. Well, if you're doing it this way, and having this kind of fold up, but you can do it in whatever direction you want. It works equally as well this way, just depending on whatever sentiment you use there. If you use a sentiment that is more, landscape, then it works perfectly like this. I like this, the stamp that I used on my original one, but like I said, it kind of loses a little bit something because I put it right over the black, which is obviously darker. So this would be your triple layering stamp technique. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully it's something maybe you haven't tried yet, but hopefully you do try it, because it's super, super simple. And I feel like the possibilities here are absolutely endless. You don't need a big stamp in order to get the effect. Just, you have to be mindful of the size of your layers. That's the only thing. So hopefully, hopefully you find this useful and you go out and try it, because it doesn't require a lot of fancy stuff, which is amazing. It's not always, the fanciest tools. So if you do make something with this technique, head over onto our Facebook page and share it, because I'd love to see what you're making. So I look forward to seeing you next time. I just also wanted to give a quick reminder that today is the last day you can enter for the fantastic Graphic 45 giveaway. And I will put on the left-hand side, you'll see a video, the video for that giveaway with the link. And good luck to everybody who has entered. I really appreciate all the support, and keep subscribing and giving me thumbs up, and I will keep on making videos for you. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Stay well. Bye.